Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Hello. What is up, guys? Hunter Klein bringing you this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys number 39. Let's get it, guys. This week was interesting for me. Today was interesting for me. For the first time in a long time, I was nervous to record. I was nervous to talk. Generally in, whether it be recording on the podcast or talking in front of a classroom or giving us some kind of speech or presentation, generally I don't get nervous anymore. But this week, I found myself mentally making excuses to kind of push back the pod. Like, no, I need to have this right and this right. And I think what it is, guys, is I think there's so many people reaching out and DMing me and contacting me about the podcast right now. There's so much excitement and kind of hype and momentum behind it that I feel I'm putting a little more extra pressure on myself. I feel an immense pressure that I have a lot of people watching that I want to make sure that I provide quality content to. And I think that's what it is. I think that's what I was feeling today. And that's not a bad thing. I love that. I love that I'm feeling nervous. I love that we're entering into a new space here, because I think that means we're kind of pushing the boundaries. All right. And I have an honest and pretty upfront question for you guys to start the episode this week, and that is, do I give off a homosexual vibe? Yep. You bet your asses that we're starting this week. Do I give off a homosexual vibe? I'm 100% serious with you guys right now, and this is why I'm asking. Okay, I would answer this with a clear-cut no. All right, maybe I talk about emotions more than the average man, but no, I don't think so. But here's the issue, and here's why I'm asking. My list of Instagram DMs in the last 2 months begs to differ. Okay, I'm having an issue. Now let's make this clear. You're straight, you're gay, you stick your dick in car cushions, I couldn't care less. As long as you're a genuine human, shine on, brother. All right, but I can't help question the vibe I'm putting out into the world when a large majority of the DMs I get are compliments and underwear picture requests from homosexual men. Right? I hope you see the dilemma I'm in. And to all you dudes hitting me up, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here. Right? It's flattering. It really is. But your DMs are a lot like getting a free t-shirt out of one of those guns at a sporting event. And you open it up and it's like an extra small. It's cartoonishly small. Right? That initial grab, you getting the t-shirt's fantastic, but it's really no use to you after that initial excitement. Right? It feels good to get the message, and I appreciate it. But it's no use to me, guys. We're batting from the other side of the box here. And I can't help worry. I can't help worry that I'm getting shorted. I'm getting shorted interactions with wonderful women because of some sexuality-related confusion. All right? And to add on top of that, as a straight man, Instagram DMs from women are a lot like, you guys know the make 10 orders and get one free Blizzard deal at somewhere like Dairy Queen, that thick little punch card, right? You know that you get the hole puncher in every order. It's a little bit of a reach, and this is kind of a wild, floaty analogy, but that is exactly what it's like as a man to get DMs from women on Instagram. All right? Those cards, like DMs from women, are a weird thing because they seem irrelevant, right? They're rarely ever useful. They're not the best deal ever. They rarely ever happen. And we almost always forget about them, right? We forget they're possible. We forget they're available. But eventually, on a random day, many months down the road, you're a little down. You're not really in the mood to cook. And that bad boy shows up in your glove box while you're rummaging through your car with 9 punches, and you may as well have won the lottery, right? It's a beautiful feeling. It was irrelevant, but when it showed, it's absolutely amazing. This is exactly what it's like when a chick slides into the Instagram DMs. 100%. You forget it was even possible, that it even existed. And because many of you have probably seen the journey of finding a woman on Instagram can be a slow and winding road, just like that approach to the 10 DQ orders, it's a beautiful experience when that shows up. There's a lot of men that are putting themselves out there continuously on Instagram, in the Instagram DMs, and continuously getting batted down. But eventually, as you rack up those orders, your shooted shots, okay? Eventually you get a freebie. All right, that's what a DM from a woman is on Instagram. Just like you get that free blizzard, you get that freebie. All right? That one day where you throw up that photo with a fresh fade and your favorite t-shirt, and you open your phone to see a beautiful woman in your DMs waiting with open arms. You forget that kind of experience was even possible, just like you forgot that punch card was in your glove box. Okay, go get your blizzard, champ. Okay? What an amazing feeling that must be, huh? Because I wouldn't know, guys. What an amazing feeling that must be, that after your 10 orders in the Instagram DM department, you get your freebie. Because I wouldn't know. All right? Because after my 10 purchases at Dairy Queen, I'm getting a fucking complimentary Caesar salad, friends. I can't help but feel cheated. All right, I'm putting in the extra effort to reach out to women, take more leaps of faith. I'm punching my card. And what do I have to show for it? I have 13 different DM chains where homosexual men are trying to solicit nudes from me, friends. Right? And I can't help feel cheated. Right? It feels like a little bit of a disservice. Right? Is that the kind of vibe I'm putting out into the world? Is that what I'm attracting? All right, and with all things considered, I'm left to conclude that I'm giving off a homosexual vibe. So we have to make some adjustments back at the drawing board, friends. We got to make some adjustments back at the drawing board to go back to the bullpen and maybe tweak some mechanics, I guess. In all honesty, guys, I do think there are many aspects of my person that don't fall in line with your average man of our times. So I don't think this is really that mystifying of an occurrence. Mainly because the large majority of men in the world, I believe, are only a generation or two off from being a grunting gorilla in a tropical rainforest. And I don't think you have to look far to see this in action, guys. I don't really think we have to reach to give examples here. All right, many dudes not only hide their emotions, but consider it pussy to talk about them. Right? That's rough, man. That's old. That's primitive. That's not right. Many dudes take their shirts off at indoor social gatherings to slightly flex when women walk by. Oof. Right? Oof, that is the most monkey thing ever. And many dudes brag about how many vodka shots they can take or how many bong rips they can hit, guys. Each of these examples, I imagine that if you put a monkey in the place of this man, they would act very, very similar, right? I don't think this is an exaggeration. I don't think I'm really reaching here. If you put a monkey in all these situations, they would act very, very, very similar. And my point in all this being that I don't believe I relate to the average man of today at all. So I definitely tend to be put in a different box. And because I'm in this different box, I do actually get asked this more than you'd think. Okay? So whatever. And it's okay with me, guys. And it's awesome because I can make bits and because there's fun to be had in it. But I also just find my displacement in society hilarious. And it also fuels creativity and ultimately sparks a unique vibe that I think gives this podcast something worth listening to. You know what I mean? All right. And the human experience is much too wild, much too intricate to hide behind a mask or fill a mold that society gives you. Right? Whether this mold be men not sharing their feelings or women not peeing outdoors. Yeah, that's a reach. I really don't know. Women, I'm going to need some help on that one. I don't really know, what mold you guys feel pressure to be in. But I'm sure there is something on your side similar to us in the way that, you're not supposed to cry. Right? You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to talk about your feelings. Take off your shirt, flex, and fucking pick up heavy stuff. Right? bottom line, sorry for underrepresenting you right now, women, but bottom line is be your damn self. And if you get confused as a gay woman or a gay man a couple times along the way, so be it. Okay? Hell yes. And while we're on this gorilla-like man tangent, I went to the grocery store a few days ago, guys, and had so many egotistical and standoffish interactions with men along the way that when I got home, I literally looked up whether or not there was a local douchebag convention going on in and or around my area. Okay, now what is a douchebag convention? I'm not exactly sure, but I started by looking for Mustang conventions and arm wrestling competitions in the area, so I think I gave it a pretty good shot. And to detail this, I don't know, you guys can probably pick up on this vibe. I'm not really a standoffish kind of guy. I'm not trying to get into a fucking argument with you. I'm not trying to flex up and see who's got the biggest triceps. I'll probably say hi to you if I don't know you, bud. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to create this with me. These just absolute brain dead losers, guys. Excuse my vulgarity, but oh, it was a weird day. It was a weird day. There are some shitty people in the world. There are some shitty people in the world. And I got triggered by it. And I got triggered by it. And I'm not sure what was going on. It was different. It wasn't just me in my head a little extra that day. There was something going on that day. So I did have to investigate some local events. And I don't know if you guys heard, but they canceled Halloween in California. Not in LA specifically, LA County specifically. But not only is that state burning to a crisp, everyone's leaving. Meanwhile, they canceled Halloween. Now, I am so confused about how this is going to go down. Okay, so if you guys don't know, California has been really strict as far as, social policies and social distancing and closing things down. They've been one of the most aggressive in regards to just stopping humanity for a while to let the virus cool down. All right. And some punishments, right? Maybe here in Arizona, if we have some social distancing, maybe you'll get a fine. I don't think you get fines here, but maybe at the most you'll get a fine, or at the most you'll get talked to by the police for 30 minutes for not abiding by social policies or whatever. There was a group of TikTokers in a mansion that were partying, and a fucking helicopter spotted them, or a helicopter went and searched for them, identified the home at which they were not social distancing, and the government shut down water to the home for multiple weeks, guys. The state found that they were partying, and they got their water shut off for 2 to 3 weeks. That is crazy. Okay, so that's the type of punishment that they're dishing out if you don't follow what they say. Very scary. And honestly, one of the reasons a lot of people are moving out of that state, but that's a different discussion. My point here is being, if people start wearing costumes and laughing with each other in their yards and sharing candy, are they going to get their water shut off? How else do you enforce such a ridiculous claim that Halloween is canceled? Okay, I want to dive into this a little bit more because I'm super curious, okay? So obviously people have costumes, and they're going to wear costumes whether Halloween is canceled or not. All right, so obviously you can throw on a costume and go outside, and that's not breaking the rules, right? My question is, when does it become Halloween, right? What happens if we want to hang out with people in our neighborhood while we're dressed in costumes? Right, we're not technically trick-or-treating, but we still have our costumes on, we're hanging out. What happens if you throw candy into the mix? Now there's candy in the yard, and now we're on costumes. Like, at what point does this become Halloween? At what point does this go from a personal, private event to Halloween, and LA County starts coming around and shutting off your water? I just don't understand, guys. I just don't understand. I'm so glad I don't live in this area, because this grip, this control right here makes me very nervous. It gives me anxiety. It's too much, guys. It's too much. The social distancing stuff works. People still go out to bars around me. I live right next to Scottsdale and Tempe. Tempe's a little rough because there's a lot of I'm not too sure. I'm a little disconnected from that because there's so many college or younger individuals there. But Scottsdale, guys, cases are going down and bars are still open because there's a responsible way to do this. We don't have to lazily shut everything down because 0.000001% of people are at risk of dying. Okay, and that's how I'm thinking. And that is how I'm thinking. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, guys. Since last week's episode, I have been thinking a lot. The world sucks, guys. Media sucks. Getting online sucks. It's all BS and like farming and attention farming. So what a better time for us to go inward and thinking about the future, our future decisions, our fig tree, if you will, if you listen to last week's episode, and our story we talked about. Okay, so I have been thinking about our fig story and what feels right for me. Right, I've dove down into the very core of who I am and what I want to be, guys, truthfully, what I enjoy and what gets me up in the mornings. And I have made a definite decision. Okay? So here is kind of the baseline of the foundation for how I made my decision. Okay? I think curiosity is the fuel of human life. And I think aha moments are one of the greatest feelings the human experience has to offer. So there was no doubt that I wanted to continue my education and continue developing the ability to ask and explore questions at the highest level possible. This is pretty much what a PhD is, the ability to ask questions analytically. But my biggest doubt, guys, was money. I was in a pocket where I was tired of living on the poverty line and living off this university stipend and watching every dollar I spent like an overly obsessive accountant. All right? The biggest factor that my indecisiveness was teetering on, the fuel to the fig tree story, was money. Okay, and then I woke up. All right? Money for what? Rent, I have covered. Quality food on my plate, I have covered. My ability to exercise and take care of my body, covered. My ability to access the internet and learn is covered. I had a hard time answering this next question, guys. What else do I need? I had a hard time answering this question without completely spotting the bullshit in my logic. All right? What else do I need? Well, I could use some nice clothes and shoes. Well, why is that, Hunter? So you can feel more important. All right? Well, I could use a new car. I could use a BMW in my driveway. Why is that, Hunter? So you can scream to the world that I am successful. Well, I could use a bigger house and more room. Why? So you can look at it and feel good about yourself. Ending my education, cutting things off right here so I can fall into the machine of let's get nicer things and look how well I am doing, guys. That is exactly where I was, the path I was on. Right? This machine of getting nicer things only to see on Instagram or Facebook that someone has nicer shoes and someone has a nicer car and a bigger house. And then I just fall into this loop, this hunger and need to justify my life and happiness by the amount of shiny things under my name. And I was honestly really disappointed in myself, guys. I truly have everything I need, right? Sure, a new car would be awesome. Sure, new shoes would make me feel good, and I'd maybe feel nicer here and there going out on the weekends. And sure, a new camera and studio for the podcast would be nice. But are any of these things going to make or break the success or happiness in my life? No, absolutely not. New camera and studio would be nice, but that's not why people are here. 99% of the audience listens to this podcast on audio. Right? New shoes would be nice, but if anybody is actually judging me by how nice my clothes are, how nice my shoes are, if that is make or breaking a relationship, I don't want to be in that relationship anyway. Guys, here's what is happening, or was happening. I was letting the area I'm in get to me. Okay? I'm spending a lot of time in Scottsdale these days, and I'm letting the shiny Porsches and the huge Scottsdale mansions get to me, guys. It's all subconsciously embedding this need for material wealth in me, guys. to the point where I almost ended one of the most valuable things in my life so I could start to try to fit in. How sad is that? How sad is that? So the PhD it is, guys, and my adventure in Arizona is not over. I mentioned this last week, and it's not. It's absolutely not. I just got here. I just got nestled in. I haven't explored this area. Life is long, and I can move the podcast to Australia in 10 years if I want to. I can record podcast episodes in Greece for 6 months down the road if I want to. But right now, I have to sharpen my sword, develop my craft, continue building this podcast, and just enjoy this area. Guys, Arizona is this area is beautiful. It makes where I grew up in Nebraska look terrible, guys. Truthfully, the people in Nebraska are awesome, right? That's the real beauty of that place. But this place makes Nebraska look like shit, guys. All right? And that's just the absolute truth. Guys. This is going to be a little interesting, guys. This is a little bold, but I want to talk about this. I'm going to get a little in depth here. It's going to be a lot. Let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Okay. I had an old friend this week, right? I was talking about, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I had an old friend, or maybe better termed as an acquaintance, because I never really knew them well in high school, message me on Facebook and ask me a question. Okay. And the message read, "Hey Hunter, how do you do it?" Now, I assumed they were talking about school or maybe working out, fitness. So I asked, how do I do what? Right. And they said, "How are you so comfortable being yourself? I've been listening to the podcast for the last 5 weeks, and I don't understand why you continue to put yourself out there like that." Okay. Now, not much. I think we're very vulnerable on the podcast, so that makes sense. But I have never been asked this, nor have I ever even thought about this question before. And this message sent me into a wormhole of thought, guys. A wormhole of thought. And after thinking for 5 or 6 minutes or so, I told him, because my story and my perspective are the only things that are genuinely special about me. Okay, and I've been thinking about this answer for days. All right. Was I right? Is my story, is my perspective really the only thing that separates me from the next human? And guys, I believe that this is 100% correct for us all. Now let me explain. Okay. Humans are very, very similar to each other across the board. I think we can all agree that pretty much straight up. We all walk on 2 feet. We all have sex. We all, for the most part, have kids. We all get a bit insecure. We all have a little ego here and there and so on. Okay? Because after all, we're all cut from the same cloth. But through all these similarities, there is one thing that can clearly distinguish one of us from another, and that is our perspective and our experiences. Right? This is fair to say. Life is so variable. There's so many, just an infinite amount of experiences we can have. And each of us have our own accumulation of these experiences that form a perspective. Right? As humans, we are born into the world as a perfectly square block of stone. This is a very good visual representation of what I'm trying to say here. We're born into the world as a perfectly square block of stone, a blank canvas for a master sculptor. Okay? And as we go through life, experiences, hardships, and accomplishments all slowly chip away at this original block of stone. Some hits or experiences knock off huge pieces and cause immense pain. Some hits or experiences are very small chips that go unnoticed. But over time, these chips we take, these experiences we have, they begin to add up. And what we start to see forming is a sculpture. Okay? The product of who we are is taking shape. And because life is so variable, guys, because the experiences we each have are so wildly different from the next human, our sculpture is distinguishable and different from the rest. The sculpture that I'm talking about here, that forms, is our perspective. A 3D model of how we see the world that has been carved out through experiences and hardships. But this is what is so interesting to me, guys. rather than enjoying the unique aspects of our sculpture, rather than taking pride in the most valuable asset that you have to offer humanity, our unique and personal vision of the world, our perspective, our experiences. Rather than share that or be proud of it, we are desperately scared of showing it. Not only are we scared to share our perspectives or our sculpture, but we want to dress it up with costumes and masks and face paint and lie to the world about it. How wild is this? We want to lie to the world about it and say, no, 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 I'm not different. Look, 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 look. I'm just like everyone else. I think like you. I'm just like you. We are so afraid of being judged and outcasted. We are so scared of being different and not fitting in that we desperately hide. And the only thing that makes us special in the world, guys. This being our perspective and the lens we see the world through. Okay? It's no wonder, guys. It's no wonder that so many of us feel unimportant or replaceable. Because you're taking the only unique and special aspect of your person, and I think you're hiding it from the world, truthfully. Not only are we hiding it, but we're constantly checking over our shoulder, trying to make sure no one figures out who we really are, what our sculpture really looks like. Guys, I believe I'm inclined to talk about this for the same reason that my friend asked me the question and sparked this conversation. Okay? Why is it that this podcast is growing? It seems from outreach and people DMing me that the reason we're getting closer every week, the reason we're growing, the reason we're getting more involvement is because we're being honest, guys. We're being genuine. We're being vulnerable. We don't hold anything back. And in a world of masks and costumes and people hiding behind walls and people of recycled opinions and people not being their true self, I think it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, that's what I'm picking up from you guys anyway. It's because we're fucking honest here, friends. We don't hold anything back. We're emotional and we're real and we talk about mental problems and we talk about mental successes. Right? It's not a show. It's not an act. And if you think it is, there are hundreds of hours of me talking the same stuff with the same general idea, with the same purpose. Right? You can't fake something for this long. All right? So I'll leave you guys with this. Okay? I'll leave you guys with this. My name is Hunter. I'm 23 years old. I currently have $461.47 in my bank account. In the last year, I've cried more times than I've had sex, and my life is a constant battle between thinking I'm the superhero in my own movie and thinking I'm not good enough to accomplish my dreams. I have this omnipresent and inescapable perspective that we are on a mud ball flying through a very large universe, and I believe that when you die, nothing happens. Now, who the fuck are you, friend? Okay, your turn. Who the fuck are you? Seriously. Because to be quite honest with you guys, I'm having a hard time finding genuine people in this world, but because society has its hands so far up everyone's ass that I can't tell one person from the next. Everyone is so deathly afraid of being different, or being embarrassed, or not being accepted, that we've all just turned into the same template of a human being, with our mouths shut and our eyes over our shoulder. Okay? And I know this is heavy, but it's so important, guys. The most important, in my opinion, because of what we just talked about. I believe your perspective, your experiences, the unique sculpture that life has carved you into, is the most valuable thing that you have to offer the world. Right? While from our perspective, things seem individualistic. Right? You feel like you're on your own journey. If you pull back the lens, this is a journey of humanity. No one gives a fuck about you, honestly. I'm sure you're lovely. I mean, like you can see, I know that's a little aggressive. I shouldn't have worded it like that. But in the grand scheme of things, you are a small piece. You are a small pawn in the beautiful journey that is humanity. Okay? And how can you bring something unique to that table? Right? How can you contribute? Right? We all want to make an impact. If you go to high schools and you ask people, what do you want to do? What is the purpose of your life? 90% of the time they say, I want to make an impact. I want to have an impact on the world. Guys, the only way you can truly make an impact is by providing the only thing that's truly and deeply unique about your person, and that is your perspective and your mindset and the beautiful sculpture that life has carved through hardships, successes, and just general experiences. Okay? See, I know this is heavy. I didn't mean what I said about you guys not being important. You're important, but you know what I mean? Like, I just got way too real really quick, and we should have eased into that. Let's be honest. We should have eased into that phrase a little more. Okay? And it is hard stuff, right? But if we aren't addressing the hard stuff, guys, if we aren't challenging ourselves and making the most out of this wild human experience, what are we really doing here, right? That's how I look at it anyway. I think it's really sad, guys. I think it's really sad when you see someone that doesn't do this. It's just kind of stagnant. Right? To me, that's a lot like giving up. Counting your losses and just saying, all right, I'm ready for the next part of this journey. I don't see any other way, guys. I think this is the way. Guys, I want to quickly thank you all for the support. The growth, the keep goings, and the this is fires. It's so beautiful to see, guys. It is so beautiful to see people getting value from the podcast and actually seeing it inspire people to make changes in their life. Okay, I love that. I love that. Right? Week after week, we're getting into this weird exponential growth curve where every week the podcast is doing more than I ever thought was possible. Right? It's affecting people in ways that I really didn't even think that it would get to that level. Not that I didn't think it would get there, but I never imagined it. I never imagined it feeling this good or this enjoyable. Right? It was so impactful to me this week. So many people reaching out, so many people having joy that I, like I said, was nervous to record the podcast today. I had to force myself to come in here today because I was like, no, I need to drink 1.6 liters of water to make sure I'm properly hydrated before I record so I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to overthink and I'm trying to bottom line, guys, thank you so much for listening to the pod, for being here, for wanting to grow. You're a goddamn champion if you're here, because it takes a special kind of person to want to get value like this, to sit here and just listen and work with me here, work with me through whatever the hell is going on here. Right? Try to figure this out. Try to detail things a little bit more. Try to get a better idea of what's going in our heads. All right. So you're a champion, friend, and I appreciate the support. And this is only the beginning. I'm going to be doing this podcast for the rest of my life. I would like to say. It's an anchor for me, guys. It's one of the few things that, if I'm listening to my favorite song, or something went well, and I'm kind of in that mood to dream, to aspire. This is what I'm dreaming about. I'm dreaming about a very fruitful future with this podcast. Where it's just at another level, guys. I'll save you the spiel. If you guys want to hear more about my vision for the podcast and what goes on behind the scenes of these episodes, you guys can go to the Patreon. All right, I don't talk about this much. Patreon.com, Patreon.com, and search Interplanetary Monkeys. Low key, I've been recording an extra secret private episode, or kind of a behind the scenes episode, and posting it on there for the last 10 weeks. Okay? And you get access to those by subscribing to this. So the idea behind it is I feel bad for people donating to the podcast without me giving you anything, right? It's a subscription-based service. You can either pay $5, $10, or $25 a month. And I felt bad by just putting it up there and saying, give me money. So I've been recording behind the scenes content for you guys and putting it on there. So if you do decide that you want to support the podcast, that I can give you guys back somehow and make it worth it for you guys. because I appreciate the support. And if you're helping me get closer to my dream of being able to be self-sufficient off podcasting, then I got to do something for you. Okay? So keep reaching out. If you guys want to support the pod, patreon.com, Interplanetary Monkeys. We don't run ads around here, so we're not really making money right now, but that's okay because we fucking love what we're doing, guys. We love what we're doing. I love that you guys are reaching out. Keep sending the DMs. Keep sending the emails, the letters, the pigeons with notes, whatever it may be, and shine on, family. All right? All right. Peace out, guys. This is Hunter Klein, and that's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. I'll see you guys next week.